dampen the mood, but check it, make sure, because they contain lead. Somebody along the way said this quote, vinyl siding is generally safe as long as you don't spend time licking. How about those lead soldered cans that we heard about growing up? But don't eat that after you open it and put it in the refrigerator. That was a common thing. Person from it. All around the seams of the can. Lead service lines like what we heard about in Clinton. Wants to drink or use water that's running through. How many here go fishing? Leaded fish waste and fish hooks. They hook the fish, take them out, you eat the fish. Possible way of exposure to lead. Lead weights that are found in piano tubes, and although no one probably would get to there, and found in brass mouthpieces that several of my children played on wind instruments. At the time they were playing, I didn't know. And then in that clarinet and trumpet, at least in California, they came up with the law against property that identifies lead as a metal that causes cancer. Allergies, or at least have some kind of concern. Then the beauty product, yeah, good nutrition formula, the dye that men use, a 5 minutes of hit poison using the gray to get rid of Christmas lighting. Advocated many years ago for them to put on the Christmas light. On the part that possibly has lead, extension cord, open. Anyway, had a case of a child whose lead level was very, very high. And the first thing that we do when we go in is say we need to down out of the environment, try to find where the lead is coming from. And this house could not determine where it was coming from. Everything that was tested, and every time you go back, you get poison again. Finally found that it was in curtain weight. So those drapes and stuff to fill that little heavy piece that holds it down. The child would sit there and get stuck on that piece of the curtain. Still used as aviation fuel in airplanes, that acid batteries that's used in cars, and the people that mechanics that work on that and then bring that home to contaminate clothing. Piping and gasoline transfer from one vehicle to another. This is common practice on farms. My husband here, he was a victim of that. Grew up on a farm in Florida. One tractor or one electrical vehicle, one vehicle would run out of gas. That's the father said, we just siphon it and put it in there. And you can't hardly not get some of it into your mouth. So it wasn't that way. Of course, the tested as we said, use that as an additive in gasoline and not. As long as our cars run through, never mind what's escaping into the air. That was banned for use on. And then the lead wheel weights that is still used on automobiles. We actually had an agreement with EPA about 14, 15 years ago to take, and the EPA agreed that they would put a halt to the manufacturing of this, but they have not. So, along with Earth Justice, we will be bringing a lawsuit against EPA. We've recently done that to get them to lower the lead dust level, and we were successful in doing that. But why should we have to take EPA to court when they are the agency that's set up to provide environmental protection? But we will do that. Because of weathering and time, lead paint, of course, we see it on old outdoor equipment where children are playing. After a while, it starts flaking and on the ground, and children place their hands in their mouths. There, the lead in toys we talked about, lead in fancy wine bottles, so it leaches into the wine from the bottles, and the dainty crystals, 24% lead crystal. And while at the University of Richmond, I noticed that there was lead solder around the banisters leading up to the Memorial Library where my office was. And I just remembered that quote that it should generally be safe as long as you don't spend time licking or touching it. Okay. So there are many shades of gray, and lead based paint is still the number one route of exposure to children. And that brings us to the fact that lead poisoning causes permanent and irreversible brain damage. The harm caused by lead persists a lifetime. So we're close. Well, we're in Maryland. Anybody remember the case of Freddie Gray? Okay, and this Freddie Gray and the young man next to him, Sergio Gray, they were the subjects of my study. So that's why it's the Gray papers. Freddie, of course, lived here in Maryland, and we know he was lead poisoned. We know his tragic end at the hands of the Maryland Police Department. Sergio Gray from Norfolk, he was poisoned in the house in Norfolk. And as lead is associated with criminal behavior, Sergio, as a youngster, while he was in his teens, he was sentenced to 40 years in jail. And so I said this would be a good juxtaposition to show, what lead does on these separate states, miles apart, and the effects of the outcome of it. So of course, Freddie's last ride was Silver Gray Casket, and Sergio is he was stationed at Red Onion at the time. And now he's at Keene Mountain in West Virginia, which are like supermax prisons where they're only out. At least at Red Onion, he was only able to come out to cell an hour a day. So those are some of the effects of lead poisoning. Right now, we're gonna move to PowerPoints. So from redlining to reparations, I can make it. So, all right. People, power, politics, and partnering for resilient communities. Anybody had any questions on the sources of lead, or did it prompt you to think of any others while we were going through those? So redlining generally means the refusal or limiting of services based on race and ethnicity. The act impacts those that it was intended to deny even to this day. Some say it began during the Great Depression and it was made illegal by the Fair Housing Act of 1968. But I say that redlining actually began here with the institution of the peculiar institution, as some call it. That's where the redlining began. So we're going to talk about what environmental justice is not, then give some examples of what it is and how we are addressing the environmental injustices in Virginia. So it's not 10,000 poison children in Flint, Michigan. It's not leaving who stranded on rooftops while the sea levels rise or the levees break. It's not confiscating people's land and real property through eminent domain or easements to make way for unnecessary gas pipelines. It's not planning to build your polluting corporations on top of our burial grounds, having it sanctioned by DEQ and the Army Corps of Engineers. That's what environmental justice is not. But we see a lot of this in our communities. Not desecrating the memories and works of our ancestors by raising our communities to place mega landfills in our backyards, as is happening in Pine Grove, some of the other communities in Virginia. It's not redlining, it's not food deserts or blighted communities. It's not urban renewal, displacement through gentrification, condemnation, or expropriation. It's not the school to prison pipeline or the prison industrial complex that our children are fed into. It's not militarism. So United Parents Against Lead, the organization that I founded in 1996 as a result of my son being poisoned, we implemented a $2 million HUD grant from 2004 to 2007. And we are a member of the Lead Service Line Replacement Collaborative, and we've declared April as Lead Awareness Month. We are members of the Partnering for Resilient Communities. Those that were at the lunchtime plenary, Dion Ferris headed Institute for Sustainable Communities, and they were one of our first major funders supporting our idea to create a community resiliency hub. We are the Arm in Arm headquarters in Virginia, centering racial and economic justice to end the climate crisis through disruptive humanitarianism. And I love disruptive humanitarianism, like going down to the council meetings or the local board meetings and just, turn it out, disrupt it. And because we are humanitarians, so disruptive humanitarians, I love that. We have an EJ Youth Academy, which was launched with Fahudi Shule, which is a homeschooling program in Richmond. It's in the Lead Service Line Replacement Project, and the two articles in these newspapers tell a little bit about that. As we work to prevent another Flint with an organization called 1619 Incorporated. We're promoting equity in transportation through building the electrification as well as installing EV charging stations in the city of Petersburg. And we created a garden labyrinth for health and wellness that was dedicated on May 6th, which is World Labyrinth Day. Invite people to come there to address mental wellness, mental health, and just to relax, to breathe, to take time out from the daily stresses and the daily trauma that. Yes, sir. You have. I'm gonna tell a little bit more about that. Thank you for that question. Yes, I'm gonna get right into that. Thank you. That's fine. And so the Virginia Environmental Justice Collaborative, the organization that I serve as CEO for since 2021, it was founded in 2015. I started out as the coordinator in 2018. We had 18 members. Under my leadership and direction, we've grown to 45 members. And the collaborative created the Virginia EJ Council, which was later codified and included in the state budget. We collaborate to halt the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. Now we're working on stopping the Mountain Valley Pipeline. We drafted the Virginia Environmental Justice Act of 2020, and that is now law in Virginia. And we facilitate the creation of the interagency work group to make sure that state agencies have an environmental justice lens. These are some of the people representing the organizations of the Virginia Environmental Justice Collaborative. And on October 31st, 2017, then Governor McAuliffe signed into executive order a Council on Environmental Justice. And that council is still there operating in Virginia. And it's an ear to the governor. So when our communities have an issue, they can go and address the council. who's supposed to then take it to the governor and look about and think and talk about or come up with solutions to to help the communities. So these are some firsts in Virginia. We had the docking of the first slave ships put in place. The EJ Council passed the EJ Act. We also had advocated for a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer who is Dr. Janice Underwood. But when the new administration came in, they, of course, gutted the office. They changed the equity into opportunity, I think. So now it's diversity, opportunity, whatever. And then they didn't fund the office. And so, of course, how do you operate without funding? And we talked about the EJ Council that's not codified and became a part of the state budget. And we hired also an EJ director at DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, who's the one who sanctions the permits and allows the permits. So we had developed a relationship with them to to make sure that they would not just keep allowing these permits, in our communities. We created a Virginia environmental justice map, and if we have time later, we'll come back to that. Matter of fact, let me see. Since we got the internet, I better hit it now, right? Um, let's see. Open link. Okay. Hmm, Okay. Wait a minute. Uh, okay, here it is. So this is a map that we created featuring environmental justice communities in Virginia. And we have first person narratives. So I'm going to just click on the one that says Pine Grove AMMD Family Association. Sister Muriel Branch is here with us. Yeah. And so they are one that's on the map. And then if you would go over to this part and click on one of the icons. Really, well, I'm going to go, share community, explore the data. So here we show the layers of people of color. I wanted that and see how it turns red. That's where people of color are found in those communities. And we put this statement by Sandra Cisneros. We do this work because the world we live in is a house on fire and the people we love are burning. So we need to treat this with a sense of urgency. We can't wait. And then people in the community are able to go on, fill out a survey if they want their story added, and then we will, someone on our staff will upload it onto the map. And these are the people who have worked on the map. So that's one thing that we wanted to share of the work that's being done. I'm going to go back here now, and we're going to get to the resiliency hub. So, how does resiliency look? The first thing we did was to go to the community and ask the community what they wanted. We created a community advisory board with that's multi-generational because we know it's important for the elders as well as youthful voices to have some input. Our resiliency hub is community based and it's community led, and we shift the power to the communities, including the community control funds, and we take and maintain the ownership and exercising our right to self-determination. So, what is a resiliency hub? The Petersburg Resiliency Hub is the first solar power community hub in the state of Virginia, and it's going to operate as a one-stop center to provide resources and offer the following. So, a safe haven during storms. We now have been serving as a cooling station during this extreme heat. We'll be a heating station, in the wintertime for people to come out of the elements. Provide safe drinking water, nutritious food as a clothing boutique, training and certifications towards self-sufficiency. And I'll show some of those slides later on, the trainings that we've conducted. and guided historical tours because the hub is actually a old USO for colored army troops. And the building had been abandoned and sat vacant for about 3 or 4 years. The walls were gone, the ceiling was gone, the floors were gone. And we got it. And once we started getting the funding to support our idea of a resiliency hub, it continued to grow. Connection to retired veterans and active military. So we will provide tours of the community, which is a historical community known as the Heights in the city of Petersburg. So we go from intentionally divested to resilient self-sufficient communities. We offer CERT training, certification in CPR, AED, basic first aid, lead inspection and remediation training, mold inspectors, mold workers, mold supervisors, DMV 8-hour driver improvement, the escort vehicle offered through DMV, Greens jobs trainings, and the solar panel assembly and installation, access to green spaces, and complete community solar and electrification. So we finally got Virginia to agree that, to community solar. That was a long battle also because Dominion, the power company, that's not really our friend, so
Do they still charge that fee on top of they?
for the
We're not completely independent of the million, are we?
exact, no, you do not be. We're not. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that too because we've just gotten the approval from Dominion that we can now commission our solar assembly, and we're rooftop. We have 112 solar panels. We have 6 batteries, so we have battery storage, and Dominion had to come out and inspect it and improve that. So well, where we can go totally off grid, they will still charge us some basic rate because we are gonna still be hooked to.
That's right.
Yeah, and they came in and put
To
a
their
net
grid,
meter.
their
Yes,
grid.
yes, until we can ever come completely off grid. So this is the day our solar panels arrive, and A. Massenberg is our solar installer, as well as the training. While we had the training, we offered simultaneous solar installation training, and Steve offered that program. Come on in, Brother Terry. So here we are preparing for the installation. And these are all graduates of our first solar PV installation class in September 2022. That training was funded by the Clean Energy Group. That's a picture of the graduating class. Mhm. Happy faces who are now, several of these people are working in different parts of the country as installing as well as in sales of solar panels. So we are looking to continue to offer that class, especially to community residents. Before and after, as I said, it was used as a colored USO Army. It was a USO for colored Army troops. And the mayor of Petersburg issued us a proclamation declaring April 30th as Community Resiliency Day. And you'll see I have a little short video I want to show at the end. So we were added to the historic sites, the Virginia Landmarks Register in March of 2022, and we are now also on the National Register of Historic Landmarks. Yes. And our significance historically, of course, the military aspect of it, and then that tells a little bit about the President Roosevelt and him for to maintain the morale of the soldiers. He asked that these USOs be built, so they were all built on the same design by the Army Quartermaster, and some of them have been torn down. This one was slated to also be demolished, but we moved in and got it and saved it from that, and putting it back out to the community. That's right. We're right near Fort Lee, which is now the name has been changed. Yeah, not far from there. So we go from being climate refugees to climate resilience, from wading in the water and seeing bodies floating by us in the water, from being stranded on rooftops asking for help that never comes. You'll probably remember some of these shots from Katrina. And when government fails to protect us by rolling back those environmental protections, then it's our God given right, our moral right, our human right to protect ourselves, to save ourselves, and raise our communities back to their original heights. This is a mural that's right in the back of our building that shows the heights, and I just love the determination on this face here. So then we go to talk about reparations. Randall Robinson, the founder of Trans Africa, he wrote about it in a book called The Debt. Darity and Mullen write about it, and more recently in a book called From Here to Equality. I recommend those. And reparations should be a rallying cry for justice long denied. As I said, from redlining to reparations and all of the things that have happened in between and that continue to happen. So reparations are long overdue. And when we get to talk about paying those reparations and what environmental justice really means, we have to consider the whole of the community. It's not just what some people call tree huggers, or we're worried about the natural environment, which of course is important, but it also includes, all of these other sectors of our environment, of our communities. So the cultural, the social, the economic, and the political components of a community all has to be taken into consideration when we talk about environmental justice. Because our communities are whole. We can't section them off,
Exactly.
they're whole. So the whole thing has to be included. And the environmental justice is not this blatant. Ooh, what happened? Did I touch something? Okay. It's not this blatant hatred that's rooted in all American systems. So it's not enough for us to tear down the statutes, as was a big thing in Richmond. And I'm glad to see them going too. Their races, what they symbolize, but we have to go beyond that. It's got all of the American systems have to be changed if they're going to really talk about being just. So I don't think it can be trained away, marched away, or legislated away. But we have to take some type of action. And I say Ubuntu, I am because you are. It's an African practice. We all in this together, whether we think we're separate or not. Because the air is not gonna blow my direction and skip over you. If it's that the water's not gonna flow to my pipes and skip over yours. So if we're talking about being on Mother Earth, it's time that we Mother Earth because we all in this together. I am because you are. Ubuntu. And this is how the hub looks now. And I have a short video I'd like to share. And these are our major funders. We have added more since then, but these were the ones that got us started. So System Hanu Foundation actually donated all of the solar panels and paid for the contractors to install them. So that was wonderful. Clean Energy Group gave us money to conduct a feasibility study to find out whether or not the building was suitable, to hold the panels, and that was very very much needed. And I mentioned Institute for Sustainable Communities. Okay, so I'm gonna just play this short video, then we'll do a Q&A. Let me see. I may not be able to get it from there, so I do have it queued up here. On April 30th, when the mayor granted us the proclamation, we had that soft opening because we're going to have another opening once we turn the solar power on. So sending out invites and hope you all can join us for that when we commission that and say, let there be light. We're just going to test it out first, make sure that everything is working. And brother, did that kind of answer your questions about what Resiliency Hub is? Yeah, thanks. Thank you. So we've come a long way. You can see the condition that the building was in. We're told that James Brown performed on that stage. So, and just knowing the history of us, with the military, we could not let the building be erased because that's like erasing our history, erasing our culture, and we've lost so much already. So we stepped in and said we're gonna save this, and we've been blessed to do that, and just taking it another step further. So anybody have any questions or comments, or just want to share anything?
I love the way you institute preservation because preserving the environment is important. But I think you expanded that preservation to mean the whole of us.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is,
I learned that from you, Sister Miriam. I learned that from you. And visiting Pine Grove, and once I saw how you were preserving Pine Grove. So when we came to this point, like I said, I took a lot out of your book. So I thank you for being my leader and guide in that. Yes, and all the work that you do. So and that prompted us just like Brown Grove,
right,
So we all learning from each other and following those examples. So
instead of pigeonholing ourselves, being able to see the whole of us, I
yes,
call it,
man, that's right. Thank you, Sister Miriam. Appreciate that. So true. Any other Sister Fatima, Queen Fatima?
and I appreciate, seeing this film and, I'm so happy I did have that day to, my
Yes.
first time heard,
Yes, you were there.
we had opening and wonderful and that scene and the work that all of the, participants, not just physically, but it just really elevated our spirit of everybody in that, um, also that, down um, what kind of events and what kind of activities, you know, how are you?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we had the solar training that we showed. We've been using it within the last month as a cooling station. We have a group that plays cornhole that would normally play it outdoors, and they asked if they can use the hub. So they're there every Monday night, about 40, 50 people, using this space, the grand ballroom. We are teaching our classes there. We had Dr. Umar Johnson, I know his last name. Yeah, he was there a couple of weeks ago, and we had about 200 something people came there to see him. So we are also getting ready to open up a commercial kitchen. And so when you see that orange, that's our theme. The name of the kitchen is going to be Orange You Hungry. So and it's going to be the orange, the fruit, is the name of the restaurant. And so we've just gotten our permit approved for that from the city. So we'll be able to serve some nutritious foods and have people come in, but mainly as an educational center. That's what we are permitted as also. So all forms of education, from the trainings, from the green energy jobs, from solar installation, and putting yes, putting people in our community to have these trainings and putting them to work. The lead and the mold training, those are entrepreneurial positions that they can open up their own businesses, as well as the escort vehicle driver that escorts those wide loads down the road. We certify people in that. We do first aid, CPR, AED trainings and certifications. So anything that our community will need, we're looking for people to come. So we're also open to suggestions for what skill or abilities that you bring that you want to share. We have a space for you. Yes, sir. United Parents Against Lead. Yeah, we are nonprofit. We grant funded, but we are happy to be able to open a restaurant because we're looking for something that can sustain us when the grants are not there. We don't want to always be relying on somebody else saying whether or not we can exist, whether or not we can eat. And so we're looking to open up different other, because even our trainings, we charge a nominal fee, $35 for the first aid CPR certification. So we want to more so make sure that these things are available to the community. Any other questions? And then I just want to introduce my husband Steve. You probably saw him a lot on there doing the work. He was is always present. He's always there. He does the trainings. He just all around. You saw him building, putting the painting, building just wherever he's needed. He's been there. He mentors a lot of the young men that come through there. And we also have women take the solar training. Some of them say, "Hey, I'm gonna get up on the roof too. I'm gonna climb that ladder. It's not for me. I'll stay on the ground." But we welcome that. The non-traditional, places in the workforce. Yes, ma'am, Sister Mary.
Do we have enough property for urban garden?
We do, because what I didn't show, we have a parking lot across the street that goes with the building, and we can get about what 35, 40 cars in there, and behind that is a grassy area. So yes, and then at UPAL's property in Richmond, I was talking about. I don't know if you were there. We talked about the labyrinth, but we built a garden labyrinth, and so we have space there. Actually, we've gotten funding from Virginia Outdoors Foundation to install a what do they call it? A food forest. So we're gonna plant some tiered. And I need your help with that. We're gonna plant some tiered gardenings and have the children come out and do some fountains. All that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's in Richmond. This hub is about 30 miles away, 30 minutes away. But we're gonna do it all. We got the youth involved. Yes, ma'am.
Well, forgive me for being late.
On
I
time.
you may have covered it. Are you doing anything with phytoremediation with lead?
With what?
Phytoremediation. They're using plants as a remediation.
I taught with a professor because we're not far from Virginia State, and he mentioned that there's like certain vegetation that we can grow, but I have to meet with him to see what that is. I would love to be able to do that. Yes.
Well, Sister Muhammad, Anna Muhammad is doing that training, and so she can do workshops. She does. She's out of Massachusetts, but she works with the JAMA. So if you need that help, I really hope that we always look at remedies that are a little bit easier for us to get our hands on.
Yes. Yes.
Some greens and some lettuce is a little bit easier.
That we
But she
growing them.
actually teaches the kids how to do soil testing and all that kind of work. So she's available to do online workshops, but then she will come to do a hands-on workshop with your community.
I would love that.
It's another way to clean up some land. 'Cause I
Yes.
think that's one of the biggest things we're fighting. Oh, arsenic, other things too.
That's
In the
right.
earth.
In the soil. That's right. That's right. I would love that. So I'll contact you to get her connection, her contact. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
However,
We have not, but we're not opposed to that. We're not opposed to that. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I would love that you have some contacts there. Yeah, we can reach out. And another thing, since Queen Fatima asked, we've been using it as we're getting ready to launch our second Black Black Excellence Art Exhibit. My son graduated from Norfolk State and graphic arts, so we're supporting him through that. We had the first one last February, and the arts were on display for that entire month. So he's just actually put out a call for artists to get them to bring in their artwork for this February coming 2024. We had first prize of $100, second prize was $250, I think third prize was $100, and then we had a People's Choice Award. So we were able to reward those youngsters, emerging Black artists from Virginia, and they all came out, and so we're getting ready to, put on the second one for that. This year's theme is, I think it's just Black Excellence. They're trying to do something that, what he said, Afro-futuristic, which I couldn't grasp. I couldn't grasp it though. I'm like, but what's the colors? Or I have to see like how do you show that thing, But since it's his thing, I'm supporting him. I said, okay, if that's what it is, that's what it is. But I my mind couldn't grasp the Afrofuturistic. So they were trying to show me how, I'm older. So I don't grasp a lot of the stuff. Any other questions, comments, or statements? That's our contact information.
Oh, this is considered.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the focus. Right now, I would be
Really?
give me March.
Through Department of Social Services? Hmm. Okay. Like this thing. Write that down. I've heard of the neighborhood assistance program, but not this particular category. And then you said Sister Anna Muhammad. Uh, with the farm.
You worked in the Bible Carter.
I've been to. I think is that the farm we went to? Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking also there's a new group called the Mid-Atlantic Black Farmers Caucus, and
Mm.
we actually just incorporated in Virginia. So there's 200 growers and growing in our collective, and I just think that there's a place where we could on the ground. I don't know what it is yet, but
Well,
you
I
mentioned
think
Michael Carter,
yeah.
so it must make some sense to you too, right?
Yeah, I think definitely what you said about those plants that cleanse the soil for us to grow our food in would be a good start for us.
Well, soil testing, are you guys doing soil testing?
We've gotten the youth doing water testing. We haven't done soil testing.
Well, Sister Mom does all of that.
Anna Muhammad. And what did you say about Mid Atlantic?
Well, the Mid-Atlantic Black Farmer Caucus is a newly formed collective uh, of growers and providers. So there's chefs, there's actually
We need a
all
chef.
kinds of people that want to develop a new food system that we can control.
We need some. We're gonna
So
need
not
some
just from
chefs.
soil, I mean from seeds, all the way to products. So they're trying to redesign the system
Mm.
for us by us.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Pitiful. Mm.
We're aware of it. We know the challenges you make.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
well, there's
100
actually
pages.
65 people around the country who got this to get through the application. The first project was prove discrimination against you and your family in history.
Like
That's
those
why,
civil rights.
but of course, there was 12, people stopped that. And
Mm-hmm,
so the new
mm-hmm.
one, which is 2 billion, is for people who could prove discrimination of any kind for themselves. It doesn't have to be racial. It could
Mm-hmm.
be gender, it could be ageism,
Mm.
but you have to be able to prove it. The application is 41 pages
Yeah,
long.
yeah, yeah,
And it's due on October 29th. But there's
yeah.
people in every community who will walk you through the application. No.
Who, who did this? And what was that, brother Chad? Neighborhood what? Assistant program. Okay. Accessing the funds.
Well, there's people in Maryland, Mason, that's her name, she's in this county who gets really good application, but there's people all over the country who do it. But you have to have a case that against you. If you can show that FSA discriminated against you or within that policy, then they will actually walk you through the application. The thing is October. It's when it's due. They
I
provide
think
people.
it's-
So,
I know those civil rights cases have traditionally been hard to prove.
But
From
some
what I've
people
seen.
have the horror stories like you can't believe what happened to them yesterday and last week.
Yeah.
It's a lot about it.
Yeah.
And if you know Michael Fu, Carter Farms, you could find whoever the person is. This is all Virginia before.
Yeah. Yes.
But we join you now because we are incorporated in Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're going there tomorrow. We're planning garden. Well, there is a way to prove it. But there's no,
Right.
that's why he needs to come back now. Because this one, there's a team of lawyers that I was at
And it's 90s now.
Federation meeting in Alabama.
Don't we want to fight that anymore? He's in his 90s now. Failing health. Yeah. You're right.
Well, why would anybody?
Right, exactly. And even when we go, yeah,
Okay, we're working with Flip Slade. You know Flip Slade?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
we go down there tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, we are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna go play a garden tomorrow.
Excellent.
You know the Nottaway Indian people?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.